Minute Cynic Podcast. I'm Christopher Boud. Tonight I'm joined by Christopher Sermanni.
Good evening, Christopher.
And Bryan McManus.
Good evening, Christopher.
Hello guys, how are we doing?
Wonderful, thank you for asking.
Aye, alright, good to be back in Cynic Towers and chewing the cud.
Yeah, eventually let back in Bryan after, well, we won't say what you did wrong, but
I know.
yeah, it's for legal reasons we can't.
It's fault, what can I say?
Yes. So, straight into Celtic, lads. There's been a couple of games since we last recorded the podcast. First of all, Astra. 1 each away to the Romanians. What did we think of the game, guys?
Frustrating.
Just, to be honest, I could barely see it. How the commentators managed to kind of analyse the game was amazing. But it was very annoying. Controlling the game and then losing that goal. And then to have a goal chalked off and Griffiths missing a really good opportunity. Looking at 2 away games in the Europa League and no defeats is quite good, but it's a game we should have won, I think.
Yeah, we should have put it to bed long before they equalised. They didn't pose much of a threat at any point in the game, really. But Celtic being Celtic, you could see it building and you could almost predict it was going to happen. Can't take anything away from the strike. It was a fantastic strike. Gordon had no chance, but it's a real opportunity lost because had we held on, we'd have qualified, and now we've got a hard home game against Salzburg and we need to travel away to Zagreb after that. I still think we'll qualify, but there's no guarantees now.
And I mean, as you touch upon there, essentially in the Europa League, group stages were undefeated. So is there any justification for people criticising Deila at this point for that result?
Not Deila, no. I think it was just opportunities missed by the players. It's other than Craig Gordon, he's been a real saviour in the Europa League games. It could have been embarrassing at points. Some of the home games in particular against Zagreb and Astra did loads and loads of chances. But sometimes you just need to grind it out, get lucky, and that's what we've done. The draw in Salzburg, considering they've just destroyed everybody else, was a great result. Hopefully they will rest some players when they come here and we'll get a win that will take us through.
Yeah, I think putting ourselves in the position where we need to beat Salzburg isn't the best. We really should have put it to bed, as I said. But that being said, I do think we can get a result against them because I think they've got a bit of a shite bag about them. They seem to fall quite often when they've got a big game. We get beat 4-1 at the weekend, I believe. I think, with that whole bottom tier filmed at Celtic Park, I think their arse is going to drop. And I do quite fancy us to get the win. Touching back on what you said about criticism of Deila, for that, I really wouldn't criticise Deila. I think the players had ample enough opportunity to put that game to bed, and they were a little unlucky with the Griffiths goal. I didn't see too much wrong with that myself, but have to put it down as an opportunity missed.
Fair enough, lads. Aberdeen 1-2, a victory there. Again, the performance being criticised by some fans. What are our thoughts on the game, on the performance, on the result? A return to the top of the league for the champions?
After the game, it was brilliant. During the game, I couldn't see us winning it. It was bad. But in saying that, when you look at it and go to Pretoria is always pretty difficult. Though we didn't really dominate parts. We done okay. Controlled certain elements. I think possession we probably won, but it didn't look as if we had enough to actually get over the line. But to do it with a great goal and with 10 men was fantastic.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. I think that performance with 10 men for a large portion of the game is certainly something we can take a little bit of hope and pride from. Was it a sending off, Chris Sermanni?
No, it was not a sending off, Chris.
Was it even a foul?
He didn't make contact with him. McGinn went down looking for it. It really wasn't. I mean, all's well that ends well. But he was kind of conned a wee bit there. Although Brown had been kind of going around the park, he had committed a number of fouls, no more than Barry Robson, mind you, for Aberdeen. But the the actual to be yellow carded for that was a bit of a pisser, to be honest with you, because he went down looking for it. He kind of conned the ref and he bought it, but no, definitely not sending off.
And I was reading an article actually earlier today just talking about how every goal Celtic scores when reporting the media is controversial for some reason. Both goals this time as well being pointed as controversial. Johansson, it was Mulgrew had his challenge on McGinn, and then the DVD corner. What are our thoughts on the goals? Was there any doubt that they should have stood?
Just as you're saying, there was a guy tweeted, I think, yesterday asking if we signed a new striker called Controversial because he got another 2 goals yesterday. The foul in the middle of Mulgrew and McGinn, I think the referee let it go because McGinn was nowhere near the ball. I suppose it was maybe Mulgrew kind of came across him, but these things happen. And the second goal, I don't know how many. I think there were sports team were trying to get the kind of FBI in to look at it yesterday, because no matter how you looked at it, you couldn't really see if it came off Lustig. It was just one of those things. And the linesman gave it, who had a better view than everybody. The linesman gave the corner. If you look at it, he puts his flag to the corner. So
it was like Cornergate. Was it Motherwell a few seasons ago where it went on and on about a corner over and over again? I mean, let's be perfectly honest, it was the second corner we scored from. I think we got one right after that, so it was the second corner anyway. So they should have defended better at the back post. I've got no complaints. The first one I could see why you could maybe say it was a foul, but again, it's football, these things happen. But the second one, I think they're just grasping at straws. I think Aberdeen fans are kind of rightly, I don't know if you can give this excuse to the members of the press, seeing as they've no allegiance to Aberdeen, but Aberdeen fans are kind of rightly a wee bit miffed by it, because obviously they'd matched us fairly well during the game. It was the last minute, so I can understand why they're a bit pissed off with it, but certain sections of the Scottish media, I really don't know why they're so upset about it, but
it seemed Neil McCann and David Tanner were particularly annoyed, as they are every week.
Immediately after the game, we did the celebrations with that David Tanner went, "That's what beating Aberdeen means" to Ronnie Deila. Maybe in a different voice for that, but it was you could just see it was absolutely.
And some of the references he made, it was some like that job, or like it was just really. It's as if he couldn't bring himself to acknowledge the fact that, you know, Deila is actually taking things now to a level where I think the press are now going to have to up. They've been trying to destroy the guy since he came, and now they're going to have to up it even more, because he's not really rising to it. He's really good in his interviews, and I don't know whether they were kind of going, it's good to see him showing some passion and all that. I think before he came, it was all highlighted the fact that he'd stripped out his pants and stuff and got involved with the fans in his Norwegian club, and he'd done it. Was it Kilmarnock when he'd done the kind of salute to the fans? So he's a passionate guy. Everybody's known it. Christian has been telling us about it. So I don't know. They're going to have to try and find a new angle now to try and bring him down.
Yeah, those 2 points grated me. The fact they said eventually he's shown some passion. I don't see that he's been devoid of passion.
It's nuts.
And as you say, that what I inferred from that's what beating Aberdeen mean to Ronnie Deila, as if that's now a big thing. Going to Pittodrie and beating Aberdeen's always been a big thing. They're one of the biggest teams in Scotland, and we quite rightly should be quite happy about that result.
I think for most of the season, the press, most of their copies been about how Deila's either doesn't realise what sort of job he was in for, he's no up to the mark, he's small time, this is a joke. So as Bryan kind of says, they're going to have to change their kind of tact now, because he's top of the league. I'd assume that we're going to kind of stay there for the rest of the season, fingers crossed. His Europa League campaign has so far been pretty good, so as you said, they're going to need to come up with some other angle, probably just harp on about the Rangers game between now and January, but you could almost see that they were pissed off that it was kind of, things are starting to change for the guy, because they're going to have to kind of do some actual journalism perhaps.
Well, it shows you the stupidity of whoever the interviewer was on Sky, where I think he interviewed Van Dijk and also Deila, and questioned both of them, saying, "That's you at the top of the league, are you planning on staying there?" And it's the most ridiculous, to ask any football player or manager, like, It's as if they're like, nah, I'll just start with isn't it? So it just proves out the stupidity of the Scottish media, but it's as if now they're on some sort of crusade because they had a go at him for pointing out the obvious in terms of fitness and diet. They've, like Chris said there, had a go at him coming from a small league and being out his depth, and he's consistently proven them wrong. And I think they've not obviously they tried it with Neil Lennon. He's now moved on, and it's just another target. And I don't know what it'll be next. Like I mean, Chris said it'll probably will be the Rangers game. I think he got asked yesterday about the minute silence being interrupted. Why that's in a football manager, I don't really know what relevance it is to the actual game.
Especially Deila. I mean, he's Norwegian. It's not as if he's been steeped in British or Scottish history. He doesn't really know the relevance or the irrelevance of the poppy. It's just, let's see if we can get a quote out of this guy. It's just cheap shite that they keep throwing at him. But as you say, he's quite sharp. He doesn't kind of rise to the bait a lot of the time, and I hope all he needs to do is just keep winning and don't need to try something else.
Yeah. We'll get a very interesting article from Brian Murray on the site regarding Deila and essentially talking about whether or not his revolution deserves a bit of patience. You can check it out 90MinuteCynic.com and Brian's at MurrayBoy88 is his Twitter handle. We get congratulated last week, or those in the podcast. That was you were amongst them, Chris, for holding off. Not for Taylor Swift, we'll come to that later. For holding off for 18 minutes without getting stuck into Mulgrew.
How long we've been recording?
It's almost 12. Throw in the theme tune at the start, we'll be over the 12-minute mark. So, as you mentioned, he was the one at fault for the foul, which definitely meant that goal was definitely controversial. What were our thoughts on his performance there? I think we've got a question on Twitter as well asking whether or not we should sell him. I'll double check that.
Sell him?
Should we sell him?
Put him now, get
it. Sell him? Who is going to pay a transfer fee for Mulgrew? Maybe, I don't know.
That's a bit harsh.
Next catalogue or something, do they need? As I said to Gallagher, he's got terrific hair, I'll give him that, but he's got not very much else. Brian, you can speak about him first.
Right, fair enough, he didn't have his best game yesterday, but then I don't think a lot of Celtic players did. I think to be fair, I'd rather see someone else playing in front of him, but when he does play, his passing was poor yesterday, but him being in there allows Johansson to be a bit more attack-minded and play more offensively. I know Johansson completely excels in that role. So McGrew playing that, I hate that quarterback role because he can't pick a pass. But him kind of someone sitting there along with Brown and allowing Johansson to move forward, I think it works. I'd like to maybe see Beaton in there. But I don't know, it's another. Mulgrew's probably just the latest scapegoat, so I think we should maybe leave off Chico a wee bit.
Is he the latest scapegoat? You know,
the
scapegoat for a
wee while. After that great season when he was centre half and then never played there again.
Yeah. But do you genuinely don't think he could do it another SPL side, Mr. Sermanni?
But who's going to buy him? Right, that's. I mean, we can give him to somebody. I'm all for that. Share the love.
Have him back.
Neil Lennon would probably buy him.
Neil Lennon would buy him. That's
£6 million. He's a Scottish international. No, I really feel that I need to be consistent, and I can't lay off him. So I'm not going to. I will give him this. He was second worst Celtic player on the park behind Zaluska yesterday, who just looks a bag of nerves for us, and you can tell that Gordon might be picking up wee niggles and that Deila's kind of ratting them in cotton wool, which I think we're all for because he's had his injury problems and he's going to be an important player for us, but I think we need a steadier replacement because Zaluska, their goal. Jesus.
Yeah, and that's another article I was going to maybe link into. Christian Wolf, who has been on the podcast before, Norwegian journalist, he
refers to Zaluska in that article as an able deputy.
Yes, that was the one thing that I was going to disagree with. But he essentially wrote an article, Will Deila plunder Norway come January? He gives 5 people that he thinks that he could or he should look at, one of which was a goalkeeper. But as you say,